Steve! Oh my goodness! Holy sh!
Well, hey there folks, welcome back to Misfit Toys. It's no secret that out there for us gearheads on YouTube, revivals are like red hot. And I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. When are people going to get enough of these? It seems never. If you've ever done this kind of thing, you know that honestly, most of the time the worst part of the revival is the vehicle itself. Needs brakes, mouse infested, rusty, crusty. It seems to me the most exciting part of it is getting the engine running. So with that in mind, why not just cut out the vehicles and just do engines? I picked these up about, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago. Just a couple of random 460's off Marketplace because I do have some future projects that might need some engines. Dun dun dun. This one here is from a mid-80s Ford F-250. As you can see, it is a greasy mess. I did get the transfer case with it, but the transmission had already been sold. And around these parts anyway, these 460 bell housings are hard to find, so they're kind of valuable. I did not notice this until I got it home, but the bell housing is damaged right there. But these are hard enough to find that this might be worth considering repairing. This one here, I forget what year it's off of. Oh, right there it is. It's a 1919. You guys didn't know they made 460s clear back then, did you? But seriously, it's, let's see here, this ought to tell us. E7, yeah, it should be an 87. It's supposedly out of a motorhome. It was sitting in a shed with a bunch of other engines. The fact that they put it in the shed tells me that, you know, it probably was good. Otherwise, why go to the trouble of putting it in the shed? But the roof of the shed was in pretty bad shape. It is stuck. When I went to get it, I pulled the spark plugs out and I looked inside it, and what you could see did not look all that terrible. So we're going to have to get this one unstuck. Obviously, it did come with a C6 transmission. It's got a Holly on it, so I'm sure that's going to leak. They always do. Plan is I'm going to go ahead and put this one, pull the C6 off it, get the engine put on an engine stand, and then get some acetone ATF mix in the cylinders and get that soaking, and then we'll turn our attention to this one and see if we can get it running while this one is soaking. Let's get to it. It's too cold to be standing out here in this wind. Okay folks, so there's something weird going on here. I just wanted to point out the editing is going to get a little weird on this video. Initially, when I brought these two engines home, I was going to do them both as one video. So I was working on them simultaneously, as time would allow each way. But as time went on and I started editing the video that I had, I realized I could make two videos out of this and just split each engine into its own video. So keep that in mind as you watch like the weather change in the background and whatnot. And then I'll jump to the other engine in the second video and we jump right back into the depths of winter. So yeah, just a warning on that if things seem a little weird. Now back to the first truck engine that's not locked up. Rarely does the day ever come to pass that I get everything accomplished that I hope to, or even more. But let's see if I can get something done with this thing today before I run out of daylight. All right, as you can see, the daylight is waning. I believe I've stripped everything off of this that I'm going to. Got rid of the exhaust. I did leave the manifolds on because, yeah, not this side, but there are already two bolts broken off on this side. Oh man, it's kind of hard to believe how much time it took to get all that bracketing crap off of there. Here's the pile of crap I took off it. And as you astute viewers might have noticed, I've got a bell housing on it. This is not the manual one. You Ford guys know that in order to crank an engine, a Ford anyway, of this era, you have to have a bell housing to bolt the starter on. This is an FMX bell housing. I haven't messed with an FMX, oh my God, in a couple of decades. I had this in my aluminum scrap trailer. But anyway, yeah, I put the automatic flex plate on it from the RV engine. FMX bell housing. I did have another separator plate because, as you recall, I cut that one, and the starter from that one. Now, for those of you that aren't aware of it, this was a truck pan. As you can see, it is rear sump. This one was from an RV, which I'm assuming that it was a van-based RV, because most Ford RVs are. But the sump on this pan you could probably more accurately call a mid-sump. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and set this down. I'm kind of running out of time for today. Basically, all I got to do is wire up some sort of ignition, slap a carburetor and a fuel system on it, and then we'll see if it'll run. I guess if I remember right, I think I checked this when we went to pick it up. It wasn't stuck. Maybe I should check that right now. Maybe my memory is off. Old guy and all, you know.
Hi, old guy! Let's hang out!
Yep. She's turning. Feels like there's some compression there. Although, if I'm being totally honest, I feel like this engine has had a hard life. This thing, I bet, has 1,000,000 miles on it, and all the oil all over it just tells me, yeah, it has had a long, hard life. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and set this down. I'm kind of running out of time for today. Well, now, it's been a couple of weeks since I worked on these 460 engines. The weather's warmed up, and actually today is a glorious day in the low 70s. I have the truck engine out here. Was going to try to get it running today. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. Let me show you why. Got it hanging here by the loader forks. Getting it up here where it's a little more comfortable to work on. Was going to get the wiring set up. As you can see, I've already got a carburetor on it. I've taken care of a few things here. Took that, cut it off, welded it up just to make a plug. Got these emissions exhaust passages plugged. Oh yeah, I was going to get an oil pressure gauge on there too, but look out, kitty. It tripped me again. As I said, I was going to be putting ignition components on it today and a fuel system. Got started on that. I'm going to go ahead and put an oil filter on it and some fresh oil in it. And that is when I found this. This engine has been dropped at some point, and that sump is just absolutely smashed to hell. That leads me to believe it's not going to get good oil pressure, because no doubt the way that pan is smashed, the oil pump pickup is probably, I'm not going to say damaged, but I bet it's, I don't know, tweaked or something. So I need to pull this pan off, see what's going on in there. Now, one of the things I've done in the past couple weeks was I went ahead and pulled an oil pan to put onto this. I took it off of a truck. I had to actually pull the bad engine out of the truck. It's one of the vehicles I'm thinking I might need a 460 for. 460 to put in, not a 464. You know what I mean. I'm blathering here, as I always do. But anyway, I took an afternoon to pull the bad engine out so I could get the oil pan off it. Might seem like a big waste of time, but eventually that engine needed to come out of that truck at some point anyway. So I pulled the oil pan and the pickup off of the bad engine, and I was going to put them onto this. But as you saw, I apparently have two engines that need oil pans now. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the pan off of that truck engine and just see how bad the damage is in there. Well, here we go. No surprise there, based on what we saw on the outside. I am surprised at how crazy somebody went with the RTV. But here's the real story. As you can see right there, the pickup sump got smashed in. The support there, no, that shouldn't have a curve in it like that. Thankfully, it looks like the oil pump did not get enough pressure put on it to snap it off. which would have happened right up in this area. Get out of there, kitty, it could fall on you. Well, I'm gonna have to go up to my storage areas and look around and see if I've got another rear sump truck pan. I'm pretty sure I do. I do have an oil pan gasket coming from Rock Auto, but I only have one coming, so I need to run into town later this afternoon. Maybe I'll stop at a parts store and overpay for one at those. Well, folks, the plot thickens, as they say. I did have another oil pan, but before I went to town, I spent some time going ahead and getting some stuff hooked up on this engine. Got an oil pressure gauge, fuel line. I have not done the wiring yet. Yeah, I wanted to get some stuff done before I went to town in case I needed to get something else. Moved the engine in here, get it out of the wind. Figured I'll take some time. I put it on the engine stand, as you saw, so I can flip it over, get the oil pan rail all cleared off. Once I got it in here, I realized that engine I talked about that I took out of that truck that was going to need replaced, it had some hardly used spark plugs in it, so I salvaged those. I thought, what the hell, I should take a look at these spark plugs, put it in there. Let me show you what I found. Now, here they are in no particular order. And it doesn't matter the order because they all pretty much have these deposits on them, which makes me wonder if this thing was an oil burner. There was only one that was kind of worse than the other 7. I think it might have been this one. Yeah, you can... Lots of crud on them electrodes. Now then, as I was saying, it might be an oil burner. This one might be a big loss. But one thing that will lead to an engine, a Ford engine like this, of this vintage, burning oil pretty bad, is the umbrella seals that go on top of the valves. They will get old with age and heat cycles and crumble and fall apart. So with that in mind, I went and I checked the oil pump screen, because that's usually a dead giveaway when those those umbrella seals are giving way. They will make their way down into the oil pan and get sucked into the screen, which I'm not seeing any of it, but you can see there. There's a pretty good chunk of RTV. Yeah, you can see this pickup screen got whammied pretty good, as did the oil pan. Now, with that in mind, I decided I would go ahead and pull the valve covers off, see if those umbrella seals, you know, put eyes on them and see how they are looking. Now then, I already had this hose hooked up for this PCV, and I went to pull it out of the valve cover. There is nothing in there. I don't know to what effect that might have on things, but I have not pulled the valve covers off yet, just got the bolts out. All right, here is the driver's side. I don't see any debris in there from valve stem seals, and from what? Oh, wait a minute, what's this? What in the hell is that, and why is it in? That's like one of those tabs that would go here to hold a wiring harness. How did that get inside there? I don't know. From what I can see in there, all the umbrella seals look to be intact. On this side, anyway. Let's take a look over here. Yeah, no debris. Whoop, what's that? Felt something. Didn't see it, but I felt it. That is... No, I don't believe. That's the only piece I'm seeing. Wait a minute, what is this? A washer? There's a spring. Oh, I know what this is. This is the pieces of the PCV valve. There we go. Yeah, the umbrella seals, near as I can tell, look intact. Well, that one looks a little sketchy, maybe. I don't know, if I get some light in here. Alright, so here's what I found, and I still don't have enough light in here, even with this, to show you. A lot of these are gone. I'm assuming someone has been inside here and just cleaned up all the debris, because otherwise this should just be littered with debris. And if it's not in here, it would find its way down into the oil pan, which there was nothing in the oil pan or in the oil pickup screen. But yeah, getting in there like this, here's a perfect example. This one's falling apart, it just hasn't made it out of this inside the spring yet. Ah, man, these things are proving to be much more challenging than I thought they would be. But I went out to the shed, this box of random seals and whatnot. I've got some of these umbrella seals for it. polyacrylate valve stem seals. Looks like I'll be changing those out. Alright folks, I'm not going to show you me doing all of these. I'm just going to show you one cylinder. Obviously, you got to get the rockers out of the way. Might as well get these push rods out of the way too. Pull your spark plug. And put in this little air fitting doodad. Plug in some compressed air. I have found it helpful to go ahead and give these a wrap first before you go any further. Now, I don't know if you heard it before I turned the air on and it started running, but this one had that thunk, 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 and then you can tell a difference after it breaks loose. There she broke loose. Get your little leverage tool here. And obviously the compressed air is keeping the valve pushed up so it stays in place. You try doing this without compressed air, the valve's going to fall down in the cylinder. I have heard of a trick where you take the spark plugs out and you stuff the cylinder full of rope and then rotate the cylinder up. I tried that once. I'm not saying it doesn't work. This is just much easier. Okay, this one's actually intact. Doesn't feel too bad. But this one is much more softer and more pliable. There's the old one. You can see there's a little bit missing there. Yeah, this one is. That's one. That was not bad either, but boy, that's pretty stiff. Now that you got the keepers back in, you can take the air off. And there you go, one cylinder done. Let's take a look at what the results were. I really didn't expect to find this many intact ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 2 or 3 that were just totally non-existent, and then the rest was that. So maybe the what I assume was oil deposits on the spark plugs, maybe it wasn't all because of the valve stem seals. Time will tell, but not today. Later, fartwads. So folks, we got a little bonus for you. Guy I wheel with, go to swap meets with, Monty. He has a 390's getting ready to start today. I'm on his way to his house. Came in a parts truck. Well, I'll let him tell you about it when we get there. I like your little plate there. I was thinking about doing something like that with my 460's.
Yeah.
A little mounting plate with all the components on it.
Just some scrap I had laying around.
Yeah.
I had to buy a switch.
The ignition switch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought like 3 of those at the swamp meet last weekend.
Oh, cool.
So tell us about this engine.
I was going to overhaul it for my 64 Galaxy convertible.
Bastard.
I am just green with jealous rage right now.
Just for the hell of it, I thought I'd try to get running.
So it was in a parts truck.
It was in a parts truck, a highway.
Okay.
I measured the cylinders out. I pulled the number 1 and number 4 plugs, brought it top dead center, and measured the stroke. And it was a 390, not the 360 or the 352. I'm not real hopeful. This is some of the stuff that came out of that oil pan.
So water and chunkage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Now that could have been
never
some
know.
of the penetrating oil that sprayed down the cylinders,
Yeah.
but
How long did this engine sit since it last ran? Any idea?
a long time,
Long time.
several years.
Are we going to do this with it sitting on the ground?
Yep, just like this.
Okay. I've never done that before. I always had them hanging.
I've never done this period. I haven't tried to crank
So
it. Yes.
you do know that it is unstuck, I'm
It
assuming.
is unstuck.
All right. We've talked enough. Let's make something happen.
Okay, let's see if she'll crank first.
Oh, what was that?
That was my ignition wire. I haven't got hooked up yet.
Oh, she was welding there. You told me.
Ready. Not enough crank.
That's what I'm thinking.
Neat.
Getting her spun fast enough, probably.
Go get battery charger and battery.
You want me to run the key so you can mess with the throttle?
Sure.
Oh, you ready?
Yep.
Can't see anything from here.
There's sparking.
Was there?
Yeah.
I got it.
Straight in.
That's right. Keep going.
Yep.
Where did all that come from on the cardboard there?
Oh, that came out of the cylinder.
Cylinder number 1.
Okay, we need some fuel.
Yeah. The potential is there. So we're going to try the mechanical pump here. If that doesn't work out, he's got an electric pump right over there. But we'll see if what's on there is going to work. Filling her up first.
Fire in the hole. Let's see if we can get that pump fuel up to it. Yeah. Fire. Fuel pump's no
Say the
good.
fuel pump's dead. No, that's
Now that side's bad.
yeah, this looks to be a problem. That's a lot of oil. That's probably coming out of what? Okay, yeah, it is coming from cylinder 1.
Not a good sign.
No.
I have no idea. Could be a head gasket.
Yeah.
Looks like water's mixed in with it.
Yeah. Did you change the oil in this or just?
I changed the oil in this.
Yeah, that's right. You showed us the old oil. So.
I think the best idea is just to rebuild it. Oh yeah, and it's gritty. Cylinder 4 is bad, blowing stuff also.
It's not nearly as bad as number 1. Is that why you had the cardboard down, just in case that happened?
Yes, it is.
You're so smart and good looking. What a package.
Sometimes there's a man, I won't say a hero, because what's a hero? Sometimes there's a man, he's the man for his time and place. He fits right in there. Sometimes there's a man, sometimes there's a man. Wow. Lost my train of thought here.
Now, do you want to get another 390 run?
Yeah, he just brought that one home, what, yesterday?
It'd be earlier this week. I got it unloaded yesterday.
Let's take a look.
Got Ron's favorite carburetor on.
Oh no.
And it leaks.
No. Say it ain't so. Is that the back half of it there?
Yes, it is. It used to be an old rollback.
Oh, this one's a 76 as well.
The title said 75, but
It's
who
got,
knows?
yeah, it's got a Duraspark distributor on it.
I haven't checked for spark or anything yet. I just turned her over.
Damn, looks like a nice cab.
Yes,
A little rust in the corner there. How's the floors?
We're solid. It's white, and the seat's good.
Yeah. A little crustage right there. Much better than you usually find around these parts.
Much better than that one.
Yeah. That used to be pretty much your daily driver at one
Yes,
point,
it
wasn't it? So this isn't that unusual for these Duraspark boxes, especially the aftermarket ones. The little, I don't know what you call that, the plastic potting compound in there melts out over time. Honestly, the best ones to find are the original ones, but those are getting harder and harder to find all the time. These aftermarket replacement ones are kind of crappy. That's probably why these Durasparks get such a bad reputation to some people. Is that contacting? Okay, I guess you got it. Not only does it have spark, it actually runs.
What the heck?
Feeding right out of the jug here, just like the engine up there. The Holley 2-barrel actually looks fairly new.
4-barrel.
Oh, is it? It is a 4. I guess, yeah. I guess with the air cleaner on it, I didn't notice it was a 4. Ready?
Yep.
Not smoking. Did have a little puff of smoke come out of this side. Not terrible though. Say this is a rollback?
Yeah.
Look at this PTO on it right there.
PTO on it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the oil pressure. Sounds good.
Yeah. It looks like might be running a little rich there. Am I seeing black smoke? Just down to the one side though. This side's pretty clean. Well done, sir.
Yes.
So this is going to be the one you'll use in the Galaxy then?
Yes, it will be.
And then just squirrel the other one away for future use. So you're going to tell us what you paid for this?
I ended up having to pay $1,000 for it.
The whole truck.
Whole truck.
There's the rest of it there. Looks to be a Dana 70 rear end. That frame is... Alright, that's not the... Yeah, it's got a... Yeah, there's the factory frame on the inside. It's had a big old chunk of C-channel stacked on the outside of it. Rightfully so if it was a rollback.
I'm happy.
Good score. You don't have to rebuild this one.
Supposedly this engine is overhauled at some point of its life. And by the way the oil pressure looks, I'm pretty happy with that.
Alright. Well, if Monty's happy, then we're all happy, right?
Of course we are.
Well, maybe I'll go home and work on my 460's now.
Oh yeah,
My back's not feeling too terrible at the moment. So, thanks for having me over,
Why,
duder.
thank you.
So we were talking about that off camera about the first engine. Why was it blowing so much oil out of the cylinder, especially cylinder number 1? Head gasket, maybe. We talked about maybe the piston rings, but I don't think the piston rings would cause that much oil, or the valve stem seals. Anybody got any thoughts on that? You know, not that it really matters. He decided he's going to use the other engine. But anyway, yeah, let us know what you think it is. I'm thinking head gasket, just like Monty first came up with. Later, Farwads. Oh, hey there, folks. You caught me. Ah. Hey, kitty. Anyway, as usual, this video has turned into a long, drawn-out affair, which I was hoping would be a quick, maybe week, few days. It's drawn into months now. Anyway, I think I owe my 17 loyal viewers out there an explanation as to why my videos take so long, particularly this one. My back is messed up. When I was about 20 years old, I had a car fall on me. It was hanging from a wrecker boom, and I was sitting up underneath it. I was just bent over a little bit to cut the brake line. I already had the coil springs out of it, and the chain slipped, and the car fell on me. Just the fact that I was leaned over a little bit, and the fact that the truck was right up against the car and kind of caught it, that's probably what saved my life, or even saved me from getting paralyzed, but it still messed me up pretty good. So yeah, be careful out there, folks. I was told at the time, I don't remember what the damage was, but I was told that it was going to really affect me as I got older, and it seems like those chickens have come home to roost right now. I don't even know what I did to get my back kicked off this time, but I'm finally kind of slowly rounding the corner and getting better. As you can see here, I've got an inversion table. I just got it. It does help a little bit. Not a lot, but a little. But anyway, I have been going out there and pecking away at a little bit here and there. We'll get out there in a little bit today, and I'll show you what we're up to now. So there it is. It is damn near ready to give a try. As you can see, I've got the oil pan on it. Redid all the valve stem seals, got the valve covers back on it. Carburetor fuel line, ignition's all wired up. Got this neat little panel over here. I copied Monty's idea. Well, I kind of was thinking about doing the same thing anyway. Made this nice little metal stand, foot, whatever you want to call it, out of basically scrap metal I had sitting around. I initially was going to have it hanging from a chain, but this seemed like a much better idea. I'd really like to do this outside today, but the wind is just howling out there, so we'll do it in here. The reason I didn't film doing any of this, because yeah, I was down in the back, I was working very slow, and I was grouchier than usual because of my back pain. But anyway, enough with the gum flapping. Let's get to doing something with this. I'm kind of eager to see what's going to happen. All right, we got the last piece of the puzzle in place now. Just needed positive battery cable. Let's see if we got crankage. Ooh. Looks like it was blowing a little bit of mouse nest out of the exhaust manifold. All right, let's go ahead and check for spark before we do much of anything else. And we got none. Oh, there's one. Okay, maybe the battery just ain't up to it. We go find another battery. Okay, got another battery here. Let's give it another try. Huh. Got the old lawnmower tank here, gravity feeding into the original mechanical pump, which I have no idea if it works or not. Looks like now's the time to find out. That's awesome. It's not smoking, no clattering or making funny noises. Great oil pressure. At least one of them's looking good. Yeah, I don't know how long I should let this thing run with no cooling system. I wanted to get it good and warm, get the oil circulating, get some heat in the motor in order to, see what the oil pressure was going to settle out at. It's already dropped down to 40, but I'm still feeling pretty good about it. I think what I'm going to do at this point, let it cool off a little bit, and I'm going to do a compression check on each one of the cylinders before I make a final verdict. Smoking. Burning off all that oil that's gotten down on the side of the cylinder heads. Well, it's been about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. The engine's cooled off a bit, still a little warm, so that ought to be pretty good for a compression check. I also went ahead and put this different oil pressure gauge on with the long old tube on it. I don't know what that jumping around was there when the oil pressure started dropping as the engine warmed up, but maybe this will rectify that problem. Anyway, let's get to it. We're going to start number 1 and just go numerically, forward numerically anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, there you saw it. They all seem to be running mostly between 120 and 130. I think, what was it, cylinder 5 or 6 had 150. I'd like to see a little more than 120 or 30, but that's not bad. That's pretty respectable. What the hell I got on my... Oh, it's a little bit of mud. How's that playing in the mud while I was waiting for the engine to cool off? Apparently my back ain't hurting too much, so I can go have a little fun. But anyway, I guess I'm okay with those compression readings. It'll probably be okay. Let's put her back together, fire it up again, see if that oil pressure gauge is any different. Now what I'm doing here is I'm taking a temperature sensor and I'm going around checking all the exhaust manifolds where the exhaust comes out. And the reason I'm doing that is to make sure they're all firing. Even though I have good compression in them all, there could be something else going on with the ignition or whatnot. So I'm checking to make sure that they're all warming up quickly, and they are, so that's a good sign as well. There you go, folks. I feel I've done everything I reasonably could to test the engine, short of building an all-out engine run stand. Kitty, you're so needy. I'm going to optimistically call the engine okay or decent. Not great, but decent. Mostly based on the what I feel was a borderline low compression in a couple of the cylinders. Now, I did notice when I was taking all the stuff back off the engine, putting it on the engine stand, that there was a leak out of the rear main and the front seal. What can cause that sometimes is too much crankcase pressure. I went ahead and studied the footage that I took. Hey, leave that camera alone, kitty. Come here. I paid attention to what should be the intake for the fresh air vent. Would be on the front of the valve cover. And in the footage I took, I could not visibly see any blow-by coming out of that. So I'm just going to assume that they're bad seals that need to be replaced. Seeing as how I'm going to have to pull the oil pan off of that to do the rear main seal, I'm just going to go ahead and put that oil pan onto the next engine. Anyway, I'm blathering on. The first 460 of the pair is in the books, so keep an eye out for the second video of the RV 460 that's been locked up. Thanks for watching, and until next time.
Watch out for your cornhole, bud.